Hello! Thank you for tuning in to this presentation, Self-Publishing at the Library. My name is Alexis Robertson, and I am one of the librarians here at the Kennedy branch of Muncie Public Library. Today, we will be discussing some tools that Muncie Public Library offers to help you publish your books for public consumption. We know that getting published can be tough. You may ask yourself questions like, where do I start? How much will it cost? Or how do I market this book and get it reviewed? Well, that's where BiblioBoard, a resource offered by Muncie Public Library, comes in and helps you take the guesswork out of getting published while putting you more in control of your content. What is BiblioBoard? Overall, it is an ebook lending platform that gives you, the patron, instant access to digital community-created content, local self-published books, and public domain research content on subjects like literature, geography, history, and science. We have also begun to digitize all sorts of our local history collections from Carnegie Library, and these can be found on BiblioBoard at this time. And of course, BiblioBoard offers two services that help get local authors published and marketed to the community. These are Pressbooks, which will help you format your book for ebook publication or make it print ready, and Indie Author Project, the marketing portion of self-publishing your book. Before I dive into Pressbooks and Indie Author Project, I want to show you how you can access BiblioBoard from our website. First of all, click on your favorite internet browser and type in www.munciepubliclibrary.org. From there, you can see right on the home page a link to BiblioBoard. If you do not see the BiblioBoard button from the home page, you can navigate to it by scrolling over Resources here at the top right and selecting Databases. When the page loads, you need to find eBooks and e-audiobooks. Click on it to expand the category, and you should see BiblioBoard there, as well as the different services offered by this resource. We have all the links here for you to get started, but just so that you can get an idea of what the main BiblioBoard page looks like, let's click on the link. It takes you to this page where you see the three BiblioBoard services defined for you. Create, which is Pressbooks, share and promote your book with Indie Author Project, and discover, your portal to content on BiblioBoard, where your book will ultimately end up once you submit it to Indie Author Project. Let's start by creating a BiblioBoard profile because you will need that to access Pressbooks, which is the first step to getting your book published. To get started, click on the big BiblioBoard logo, or in the paragraph below, you can click on the link here. This will take you to BiblioBoard Open Access, meaning that anyone can access this content whether or not they have a library card. In the top left here, you will see three horizontal lines. Click on that and you will see some options. You can sign in if you already have a profile, but if you don't, you will want to click on Create Your Profile. Before I click on this, let me take a couple of moments to note something. If you create a profile at home, it will prompt you to add your library card number to your account in order to access library-specific content like Pressbooks. If you create a profile when you are at one of our 4 public libraries, which is what I'm doing now, BiblioBoard will automatically add Muncie Public Library as your library without a library card number. If you do not have a library card number but want to access Pressbooks, I highly encourage and recommend you come to one of our libraries to set up your profile. One of our librarians can help you with this. With that said, let's continue and click on Create Your Profile. From here, you will need to create a username and password. Now, when I've done this in the past, the platform didn't seem to be particular about passwords, and I worried about choosing a used username, but I've not really had any issues with it, which is good. I also want to note here that giving BiblioBoard your email address is optional, but Pressbooks will require an email address. Once you sign into BiblioBoard and try to get into Pressbooks, it will prompt you for an email if you did not provide one, So I would just go ahead and enter your email address at this point. If you do not have an email address, you will need to create one, and we can help you with that at the library if needed. All of the information is entered, so now you should click on Create Profile. Click on OK. And from here, make sure both buttons for Muncie Public Library and BiblioBoard Open Access are checked so that you can access all content, including Pressbooks. Click on Done, and now you have created your BiblioBoard profile. Let's delve into Pressbooks now. If we go back to the main BiblioBoard page, now that we've created a profile, let's click on Create in order to access information on Pressbooks. Here's where you can find the portal to the service as well as some guides on how to use it. I would also highly recommend a visit to the Pressbooks YouTube channel for tutorials. The link is displayed at the bottom of this video here for you. Let's click on the link here to access Pressbooks, and it brings us to this Getting Started page. We need to click on Connect via your local library, and it will then bring us to this login page. Remember when we created that username and password for our BiblioBoard profile? You will need that now. This is your username and password. And then click on Submit. Now it's time to start creating our ebook. You need to type in the book title in the second box here. And for the first, you are creating a web link for your webbook. Pressbooks suggests that you use the title of your book, but make sure you have it exactly as you want, because as soon as you click on Create Book, you cannot change it. I have things the way that I want them, so I will click on Create Book. If any of you are familiar with WordPress, this should be recognizable to you, but it's okay if it's not. You want to begin either importing your book or copying and pasting your chapters into this platform. Support at Pressbooks suggests doing the latter as it is easier, but I'll show you both ways. At this point, you will want to go over to the left to Organize, and when you hover over it, you get multiple options. I'm going to select Organize so that you get an idea of what the different parts will look like from the back end of your ebook. Pressbooks has already set up a basic outline for you here, with the front and back matter and main body to help you get started with your book. I've taken the opportunity to upload some content just to fill this out a bit more. Depending on how you have your book organized will determine what you add here. You could have kept adding chapters to the main body, but you may want to divide your book by parts, and Pressbooks allows for that functionality. To do that, go to Add Part, found in a couple of spots here. Click on one of those, title it however you want, and then you can add more wording below in the text area if you choose. Order your part here to the right in Part Attributes, and then click Save. Go back to Organize to see how this looks. Now it's time to add a chapter. So find Add Chapter here at the top, left, or you could do it in each part here, and click on one of those options. Again, you'll want to title it, and then you'll need to have your Word document up to copy and paste the text info into here. Pressbooks can be a bit nitpicky about formatting, so we'll want to make sure that we use the correct method that the platform likes. It's not as important in this method of uploading your content, but it will be if you choose to import your files. I'll go more into this later when I show you how to import your files into Pressbooks. For now, you'll want to make sure to use the Styles menu and not the Formatting menu to change the appearance of your headings and content, so hopefully we have no errors. So select all the text in your file and make sure this is set to normal. Now you can copy and paste your story into the text box. To copy the text, select Control or Command-C, depending on what device you are using. Go back to Pressbooks, and to paste, select Control or Command-V. You may have to clean this up a bit depending on how well it copied. Below here, you can describe this chapter further and add a copyright license to it if you would like. Over at the right, make sure you select what part you want this chapter to go under. You also have the ability to preview it if you would like, but if everything is good to go, click on Create. Go back to Organize, and now you can see what we have added. Now I'm going to show you how to import a chapter into Pressbooks rather than copying and pasting it into the editor. Before we do anything with Pressbooks, you need to open up the file that you want to import in order to style it properly the way that Pressbooks prefers. As I hinted, Pressbooks is particular about using the Styles menu for an easy transition from one platform to another. When we talk about the Styles menu, we are referring to a predefined combination of font style, color, and size that can be applied to any text in your document. You should see this in most word processing programs. It's just a different and quick method of formatting your document to show the various sections of your file and maybe give your document a more professional feel. Pressbooks will import those styles into the various headings and text that you want for each chapter based on the type that you are using. So I've already made sure this text is normal from my prior example. Then go through your document for headings and subheadings. For the Chapter 2 heading, I will change the style to Heading 1. If you had a subheading, then you would select Heading 2 so that Pressbooks will recognize it as another part. We are now ready to import this into the Pressbooks platform. Since I am using Google Drive, I will download this file as a Word document. Going back to our Pressbooks editor, find Tools. Under Tools, you will see an option to import. Click on that. You will need to select the type of file you are using. Here I will upload a Microsoft Word document. You will need to click on Choose File and find the one that you want to upload. And click on Open. Then click Begin Import. At this screen, choose what you want to import and then click Import Selection. It will kick you back to the Organize screen and you see that it is shown up here. We can view it, or if we need to edit it, we can do that by clicking Edit, which is what I will do here because I want to move this to Part 3. You see that Heading 1 has turned into our title for Chapter 2, and our text is here below. I'll clean that up a bit, click on Save, and then let's go back to Organize to see the result. Now our Part 3, Chapter 2 is where it needs to be. Once everything is uploaded, you can change the appearance of your book by clicking on Appearance and then Themes here at the left. You can browse through the samples and preview by clicking on them. Select which theme you want by clicking on Activate. And also, you can input some more information describing your book by clicking on Book Info. And you can see that you can change your title, add a subtitle, editor, reviewer, illustrators, and much more as you scroll down. At this point, if you are done with your book, you are ready to export it. You will find that option to your left. Now, you can create your own cover art, but Pressbooks does come with a cover generator, which is what we will do. So you would enter your information here, and at the bottom, select your colors for the text and backgrounds, and then either make PDF cover or make ebook cover. Once the cover has been generated, scroll down to the bottom and you can download it. Let's export the actual book now. So go back here to the left and click on Export. Choose your export options. It defaults to EPUB and MOBI, but you can certainly choose other formats. Just remember that the Indie Author Project wants either a PDF for digital distribution or EPUB. If everything looks good, click on Export Your Book. You should see a couple of files here to download once it's done. Hover over one of the files and you should see an option to download. Click on Download and it should save to your Downloads folder. Once you export and download your book from Pressbooks, we can now share it. If we return to our BiblioBoard page, we need to click on Share in order to access the Indie Author Project. It is a simple 5-minute process to submit the book, and it doesn't cost anything to submit. You don't even need a library card to access this portion of BiblioBoard. Submissions do need to be in PDF, EPUB 2, or EPUB 3 format in order to be accepted, but that is taken care of through Pressbooks. We are ready to submit by clicking the link here. Make sure you read and follow all of the guidelines before submitting. Once you submit, it will go through a review process and they will contact you if any issues crop up. I want to point out this sentence here: you will be notified within 4 to 6 weeks if your book has been chosen as an Indie Author Project selection. Indie Author Project is a project of Library Journal, and they pick outstanding works to feature and specially curated collections to highlight some of the best works they've seen from self-published writers. They are made available worldwide as opposed to just locally, so it's an opportunity for more exposure. With that said, it will still be available in your state or regional collection, even if it's not picked for selection by Library Journal. We're ready, so let's click on Submit Your Book. To the left, you see the submission steps. Read through this agreement. One small note here: you are signing a non-exclusive agreement, meaning that you are free to submit this work to any other platform in order to boost your exposure. You also own the copyright as long as you are not violating someone else's copyrighted work. Click Accept, and then Continue to move on to the next step. Next step, upload your work and cover art if you so choose in the proper format. Click Continue. After this, you will provide some general information and describe your book in the Details section. Click Continue. Then you will provide some basic information about yourself. And then finally, the last step is Review and Submit. Here you should be able to opt in to your work being included in our local indie collection. If you want to learn more about the Indie Author Project, please visit indieauthorproject.com. Once you have submitted your book and a few days have passed for it to be reviewed, check back at the BiblioBoard library found through this Discover link here at the main BiblioBoard page on the Muncie Public Library site. Once you are in the BiblioBoard library, just search for your book, And at this point, you should also be able to share your book through your social media channels in order to spread the word about it. Since we have reached the step where hopefully you have published your book, that concludes my presentation on self-publishing at the library. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me by calling Kennedy Library or emailing me at the address provided. Thank you for tuning in today.